Hello and welcome to Kings Speak. This is an interview series designed, to assist men in discovering their highest and truest vision for their life and their life's purpose. So thank you so much for tuning in. It's amazing men, various topics, and king level wisdom. So our guest right now, this topic is about dating after quarantine. 3 ways to position yourself for kingdom romance, for kingdom relationships. So if you're a man and you're looking for a wife or looking to evolve the way you date, I decided to bring in a great friend of mine. Now, it is a woman, and this is still all about you men, but she has such an incredible perspective and outlook on love and relationships. And I just love the positivity and what that brings. So this beautiful soul is a writer, speaker, and believer of all things love. So her motto is love is heart work and not hard work. So I'm going to bring on the Fab Kara. So let's give her a warm welcome.
Hello.
Hi, beautiful woman.
How are you? It's so good to see your beautiful face.
Yes, right back at you. So looking forward to this conversation.
Me too.
Yeah, so today we're talking dating after quarantine. I gave you a lovely introduction. Everybody knows who you are. And I love to share that your motto is love is heart work and not hard work, which is very beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. So for those of you who are tuned into the chat and don't know who the Fab Kara is, Kara, tell them who you are and what you're about.
Oh my goodness. I am the absolutely fabulous, charismatic, and anointed Kara Adams. And I am a woman on a mission to put kingdom couples together so they can be wildly attracted for life, because just being married is not good enough. And because I have a heart for singles, I think it's important to help them become one of those kingdom couples. So that is what I am all about. We're on a love journey, and whatever we can do to learn how to love better, love well, I'm all about it.
Absolutely. And I told you, men, that you would love this, because even though this is King Speak and this is all about men discovering their highest and truest vision for their life and their purpose, it has everything to do with our perspective, especially, again, if they're looking for a relationship or want to relate to women even more. We're going to share some amazing things. So this is all about dating after quarantine.
Dating
We've heard
after.
about, what to do during quarantine and how to get with it. But we have 3 ways to position yourself for kingdom romance. And that's what we want to talk about today. So let's just go ahead and dive in. Now,
I'm excited to do that.
Girl, Kara, you had an amazing interview with Pastor Sharif de la Cruz.
Yes. We did a joint takeover on Easter Sunday, and God was in the midst of it. It was on fire, still lighting it up over there with the video clips of that. And people are still asking for the replay. People watched it. They watched all 3 hours live and then watched it again and took notes. So
I heard that. And it was so beautiful. And I love the dynamic between you two, because it was a man and a woman. There was a lot of biblical principles that were introduced, a lot of real life, powerful tips and tools that were introduced, and how we function and how things go. So one of the first things that caught my mind, because you had me convicted. So when I was listening, I was like, ooh, let's talk about where people go wrong, because we're told, be clear, make a list about what you want. Be very specific and pray for what you want. Tell us where we're going wrong when we make the list about the partners that we desire.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, so many of us think that making this list is almost like a genie in a bottle, or you're making a Build-A-Bear and you're like, I'm building my perfect man, I'm building my perfect woman. And that's not what it's all about. It's about making this heart connection, this soul connection, something that's going to last you a lifetime, somebody that is uniquely qualified to be your rib, your helpmate, your purpose mate, so that the purpose and calling and all the gifts and talents that you have are amplified, so that when you come together, you become a power couple. So the 2 of you together are amplified and even greater than what you are apart. So in that vein, part of that, and I think I'm going to take a little step back, is part of that comes from how well you know yourself. So falling in love with yourself first and foremost. Falling in love with the life that you're living is the next piece of that. And then you fall in love. So as you're in your purpose and as you're doing your thing and as you're finding your way, we're not saying you have to arrive. We're just saying you have a direction. Even if you change directions, a man has to have a direction, a vision for a woman to tie into, to come alongside, to help with. So as long as you have a place that you're going, it makes it easy for us to go, okay, the man's supposed to lead. The man has a vision. I can tie into that vision. I don't have to do what he's doing, but I can support him for who he is because he has a direction of where he's going. So that would be the first step, in my opinion, is we start with that whole dynamic of falling in love with yourself, your life, and then thinking about falling in love. Yeah. So in terms of that qualities that should be on this list, this magical list of the person that you want, the qualities are not, she has a banging body and, you know, when she turns, she looks like a Coke bottle and all these other things that have people lighting up some of the Instagram famous people, if you will. It is more about the internal qualities because honestly, no matter how hot, how smoking hot somebody is, when you're in a relationship with them and it's not working, they don't stay looking beautiful. They are still the pain in the butt, the thorn in your side, whatever it might be. So it's the qualities like integrity. And for the men, you want a woman that respects you first and foremost. Just like a woman wants a man that loves her. That's where we're different. When women expect for men to respond to love, men respond to respect. And because you give him that respect, then it turns his heart more loving towards you. It's one of those dynamics. That's why I spend a lot of time trying to talk to you in my communities are always about having the conversation between men and women. I know a lot of people are very single gender specific, and that's fine. Everybody has a different walk. But I believe the only way is you have to hear the heart of a woman. So I really appreciate the conversation. But at the same time, I spend a lot of time trying to turn women on to what are the qualities that will make them a great woman for a man, because not all men are bad. Not all men are dogs. There are good men working hard that are doing all these things, and we have to learn to appreciate them. So you're looking for a woman who has a great mindset, a woman who can guard her mouth so that she doesn't talk reckless to you. A woman that's going to call you out your name is not somebody that's on your list, no matter how good she looks. You want a woman that you feel you have a safe haven, that when you bring something to her, it's safe. She's not going to talk bad about you. She's going to accept what you have to hear, that you can break down and be very vulnerable because it's a safe place. She's going to protect your relationship. Just like you have protection and you're going to protect her and you're the covering over her, she's going to protect and guard your heart as well, because she should be your soft place to land. And if she's not the woman for you, gentlemen. You want a woman that you can trust. You want a woman you can respect. You want a woman you love. You want a woman that when you are not there, you know that she has your best interest at heart. You want a woman that's not going to tell all your business to all her girlfriends, her mama, her coworkers, the woman at the beauty shop, the ladies at the nail salon. She's going to come to you first. Even when she's upset, even if she steps out of the room, even if she raises her voice, she's going to give all her energy to you. Those are the qualities that I think are important for you to have on that list.
No, I have to agree 1,000,000%. And what I love about this is I had a conversation with a couple men before this, and they spoke so much about their journey and how important it is for a man to be able to experience vulnerability and know who he is before he starts dating. And I shared with them, like, yeah, that's probably the best and the only way that men are going to be able to even choose a partner. If we are the conduit of everything that happens to us is flowing through us, then we have to make sure that we're in alignment with not only our purpose and being in love with our life, but yeah, everything that we're called to be, or we might miss the partner that God has for us simply because we're looking for those superficial things. I know I've been guilty of it. I mean, now don't get me wrong. I'm 5'10". I sure hope the package that, you know, God has for me is tall.
I'm 5'9".
Girl, so you know.
I'm just saying. Last time I checked, a whole bunch of supermodels are taller than their husbands. So go ahead.
Which is fine. It might have to just be what it's gonna be. That was just my little side note. That's why I felt convicted about the list. But let's bring this up, right? The men that I'm talking to, they already feel pressure out of the gate to be tall, handsome, the man riding on the white horse to save us, make the money, blah, blah, blah. And I think it's important to have this conversation because women, think about how we can meet them and actually communicate if we're aware of the things that they're pressured to go through. You know, that's why their ego gets so big. That's why, you know, there's all these things that they go through just to fit the mold of this thing. And then we end up with a shell of a man who's acting like what they think a man is. But doesn't have the core to follow. So I agree with you. Making a list that is more quality based rather than physical. And don't get me wrong, having money is beneficial. It makes life easier.
But see, I'm gonna even stop you there because once again, think about it. If a woman comes alongside you and amplifies you, so like the research shows it, and I know we're gonna talk about it in a second because it's on the list, but the research shows that most of the successful men of major corporations, of large organizations, the top 1%, they're all married. And so I don't think it's any accident. It's also, the research also shows that the most unhappiest of men are men who aren't married. And so the happiest of people is also married men. There is something about that process. As many men that act like they don't want to be married, there are benefits. You will live a longer life. You will have a healthier life. You will make more money. You will be more successful. You will have everything that you're working so hard to gain if you will give your heart to a woman who's worthy of it. Not all of us are worthy of it. Some of us have some heart work to do. Some of us have to get in there and work on some things. So we're beautiful on your arm, but we are wrecking your heart and your mind. You don't want that. So you want things like integrity. You want somebody who's consistent, persistent, just like ladies want those things. A man wants a woman that's not going to change up. He doesn't need somebody that he doesn't know what he's going to get when she answers the phone or when it comes to the, you know, he wants a woman. Ladies, God made us a certain way. We have softer voices. We have softer curves. Let a man enjoy all that about you. That is part of our power, if you will. It's what makes us unique. It's what draws them to us. And it's a unique thing. And the same thing, men, appreciate those feminine things with the woman. Make her feel good about it. A lot of women are carrying the burden of a lot of independence on their shoulders. And a lot of them, they don't want to be independent. Truth be told, no matter what they say, but they don't have a choice. So if I have to carry the whole load and I got used to it, give us a little bit of grace. Don't write us off altogether. Some of us just need to be told in a really loving manner with all the manliness that you possess, but we just need to be corrected in love. Speak the truth in love and let us know, hey babe, I need to know that you're safe. So I need you to check in with me throughout the day, or let me know you got there safely, where you originally, you might be a woman who's thinking, well, I don't need to check in with anybody. Like, I'm grown and I can do what I want. But in a relationship, you start that give and take and that respect and that concern and that safety net and that love. Give us a chance if some of us are a little bit too independent. Don't write us all off as we're not good wife material. Give us the opportunity to, you don't know what has happened with her heart, and until she feels safe enough to share it with you, she doesn't want it used against her, but she does want to feel like she's safe in your arms, and that what she might have not ever been able to do and what she thought was like a fairy tale could actually be her reality. She's going to need a little time to adjust to that. So give her that time and space to do so.
Absolutely. And I feel like the kind of man that has the ability to do that is not only in touch with his vulnerability, but is whole. Because in order to see the flaw in someone else, sometimes it's either because we're super understanding or because we've been through something similar and have gotten over it and have learned how to give grace, or because the need and desire to remain in that relationship supersedes everything. Like, you know, you go from the weeping part of things, the hard part of things, the rough part of the relationship. But if you can get through that, you go from the rough part to walking it out. And I really feel like there's glory on the other side of that. So I love that you said that. Give the same grace that you're asking men to give us independent women whose edges might be a little bit sharp, them letting us know that I got you. is
Exactly.
just that alone starts to relax the body. Like,
Yes.
oh, it's not just me anymore.
Right. And both of us, everybody's hustling, whatever it might be, whatever type of job, whatever situation you're in. And everybody wants to feel like when they come home, it's a place they can rest, a place they can be soft, a place that they can woo-saw and what have you, and just have that moment. Well, the men want it too. The men don't want to feel like, I don't want to go home because I don't know what kind of drama I'm walking into, and I don't want to hear her mouth, and I don't want to hear, do you know what I'm saying? There's a reason why in Proverbs, it talks about the nagging wife at least 10, 15 times. I have it written down for one of the things I have. But ladies, it's one of those things that the men don't want to hear it. And so men, once again, pay attention to that. That should be a red flag for you at the very beginning of a relationship. One point I meant to make earlier when we were talking about the qualities and such, and I actually was talking about the money thing. I always think about the fact that somebody who hasn't got to where they are could be amplified and really work really hard and make it once they have somebody in their corner. You know, because a lot of times, if I just had somebody, like I am working all the time, if I had somebody who would just give me a hug, who would tell me it was going to be okay. Yeah. Or, here, babe, I made you some dinner because you're working so hard. Like, I just need that. I don't need you to pay my bills. I don't need you to I just need you to be there for me. Show me that I matter to you. Show me that I'm important. So the point I was trying to get to is the fact that if you think about, I love this story, is when Michelle and Barack Obama first started dating, and his car was a complete hoopty. It was rotted out in the floorboards. It was a hot mess. Right. But the qualities of the man took over the car. And ladies, how many of you, you know good and well, you would have not gotten in that car with him. You just wouldn't have done it. And so that's what I'm saying. You would have missed out on a future president of the United States and missed his potential because you were worried about where he is right now, where he is right now might not be his real destiny because it hasn't been unlocked yet because you haven't arrived in his life.
Right. Now that just makes me want to, I'm dropping crystals everywhere. That just makes me want to ask, what do you think the responsibility is on each end to make their way to what they're becoming? Because I'm asking because of this. I've dated men who have had potential, because really I feel like that's what we're talking about, potential. If you're not, you know, all the way actualized, but you have the qualities, you're on the way there, you got the seeds, we're here to water it, boom, we got a flower. How long do you wait? How much time do you put in on either side before you're realizing, okay, maybe this person isn't ready to grow or ready to be all that they're capable of being? And when do you give them grace to, like, but this is their life, so let them unfold? Like, sometimes I wonder what's the middle ground when it comes to that, because nobody really wants to waste time.
I feel like, okay, if we're back to this whole healthy healed and we're thinking about qualities, you're looking for qualities like consistency, purpose. So it's not so much, you want somebody that is persistent, somebody who doesn't give up quick. So if it's not working, does he pivot and try something else? So maybe he has a string of failures, but all along the way, his skill set's growing. And then the next position, and he's adding on another skill set, and it's coming in and you can see the sparks of it. You can feel the difference between somebody who's a deadbeat, who is using excuses, versus somebody who's really hustling and it just hasn't happened. It's no different. For example, people who are trying to make it into acting, for example, can go on a lot of auditions. And if you only evaluated them on the jobs that they made, and the jobs that they take, it means you're minimizing all the classes they took, all the auditions they took, all the voice lessons,
Rejection.
all the character training, all the other pieces that are behind the scenes that get you ready to be an overnight sensation. You know, they keep talking about it takes 10 years to be an overnight sensation. So sometimes when you're coming into somebody's life, they might be on year 9. So they don't have anything to show discernible, but there is a pattern of growth. There's a pattern of commitment. But here's my take on it. You don't stay for the whole 9, 10 years. They do that journey on their own.
That's true.
I come into your life when we're at a fork in a road when it makes sense for us to align together. But I am not. If you are trying to do some things and it's going to take you another 15 years, I'm not your girl. You need to have already established some things. So some people, like I said, I'm okay with, because people go through midlife, and now basically everybody's in a midlife crisis because of the pandemic. But that whole idea of the traditional midlife crisis is the fact that you would get to a point in your career and realize, wait a second, this is not fulfilling me. This is not giving me joy. Hold up. I'm going to go in a completely different direction. Okay, I have mad respect for that. That takes courage. And a lot of people are doing a lot of things because it was expected of them. So they want to be a good son or daughter. So they went to the college, they did the degree, they got the job, they did all the things that were safe, the things that were expected, the things that was the family lineage, whatever. And it might not have been what was on their heart. And if somebody is actually trying to develop who they are and they have a passion, you can see when somebody lights up, when they have a passion for something. You can get behind somebody who has a passion for music that hasn't made it, for example, because you see them light up, but they're in a job they hate, but they're trying to pay bills. You can respect that versus somebody who's just like, well, can I come live on your dime because I don't want to do anything to make my hustle. I'm not doing anything because I'm just waiting on magic to help me make it. That's kind of like, that's how you weigh and evaluate the difference between somebody that you put in a little effort with. But I don't think it's, I'm telling you, it's not a 5-10 year journey because, fellas, you help me out, but most men know exactly what they want when they need it. So it's a job, it's a car, it's a situation, and it's a woman. It is not a mystery to them. So a lot of times, ladies, they are sitting there in that moment trying to evaluate it. So men know what they want. So that's why it's so important to find a man who's taken the time to discover who he is. And if he needs to pivot, if he needs to transition, it's okay. I'm okay with that. I just need to know what it is. And so if I know what it is and it matches the season, I think it's more important that you match on seasons and stages of life more than even ages. Because you could have somebody who had a child in high school and then somebody who didn't have their first child till 40 and they both have kids the same age. And so, you know, and then one of them is like, you'll meet people that are like, oh, well, my children are all grown and they can't even fathom the idea of somebody young. And then somebody else who still wants to have children. That's an incompatibility that has nothing to do with age or nothing more than you need to find somebody who's going in the same direction, that's wanting to do life the way you want to do life, so that you're not having to drag them and change them in a way. You want them to go ahead. They're already seeing the same kind of future. So you should know your future. So when you hear somebody else speak the same future,
it starts to click.
Yes, yes. And the other thing about this whole process is it's not a win, fail, good, bad situation. I think of it as it's a learning. So it's a learning opportunity when you meet somebody. If it doesn't go well, it's still a learning opportunity. It's a love lesson. You learn more about yourself and the other person. So y'all, let's stop making everybody into the bad guy if they don't want to date you anymore. Let's stop asking for closure. Let's stop holding on to people that don't want us. Let's release them with grace and tell them this is not working out. You're going to have a grown conversation. We don't ghost. We have those hard conversations. We just don't go into a lot of detail. So we have the conversation that says, this is not a match. This is not working for me. Or even when you're in a relationship, how we're doing this, or I've changed. I know when we got together, we were doing the festival circuit and I was at Coachella with you, but now I want to work in a corporate environment. We need to have a grown conversation. That is one of the things I think is the beauty of quarantine. That's why I love this topic of dating after quarantine. In quarantine, great time to dive deep on yourself. Great time to be developing even better communication strategies. Everybody has time. You can strike up a conversation with someone new, someone different, to broaden and stretch your horizons. You should have an opportunity to speak to somebody and hear something different. Stop surrounding yourself with people that only say what you want to hear. You want somebody that's actually going to speak into your situation, speak over you. They might see something that other people hadn't seen. They might have the missing little key that's going to unlock the door to your success, and you will miss it if you're only going to surround yourself with people who are yes people that tell you what you want to hear.
Absolutely. And like you said, this is a perfect time to strengthen those muscles. And even going back to your point about if somebody lets you go, let's have those hard conversations if it's not a fit anymore. And on the other side, don't take the rejection so bad that you start getting down on yourself. It's almost a moment to celebrate. It's a victory when you break up almost. You've learned, you've grown, and you've also put yourself in better alignment to sync up with the person who is right for you.
Exactly.
Who be with somebody that's not with what you got going on.
Right.
And not going to supplement your life.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you said that. It's so true. And that's what I say, it's the mind shift. That's why I started with the mind shift. It's the mind shift about all these different things. They are what's gonna propel you into your future, into your destiny. Your destiny comes when you're ready to release. You know, there have been so many things coming up. People are wanting to hold on to things too long. Most people stay in relationships too long. Most people have a hard time letting go. But until you release what's in your hand, you already know God can't release what's in his hand for you, right? But it applies even if you're not as spiritual. If you are holding on to one thing, you can't grasp with two hands open for everything that's supposed to be poured out into your life. You just can't. So you have to, at some point, no different than diving into the pool, at some point you got to let go and just jump.
And it's so true. It reminds me, you know, when you're holding on tight to something, imagine holding on so tight, and by the time you let go your little fingers, you realize nothing is there. What are we holding on to? What are we trying to control? And that kind of takes me to our second point, where I wanted to discuss the power and the beauty of sacrifice and healing. So what you just said reminded me of a question I had for you is, how do you think fear plays a part in how people hold on to emotions, feelings, and ideas?
There's no doubt. For me, because my whole point of view is kingdom point of view in terms of I don't have a worldview. I get my source from the Bible. So as far as I'm concerned, it's faith or fear. The problem is a lot of people are not recognizing that most of the things that are holding them back are different expressions of fear. Fear comes in lots of different shapes and forms and fashions and styles and names. And a lot of us are thinking, oh, it's my anxiety. That is fear, my love. Oh, that's just the way I am. That is fear of changing. Oh, so I could go down literally almost most objections somebody gives you. Listen to this. This is a jewel. Most of the things that people give you as an excuse or a reason why they can't do something is their fear. So if you really listen and listen with the heart to hear the fear, not what they actually say, but to hear the fear, you see where they actually are. Are they really a person of faith? Do they really have that belief? You've got some people that they just believe it's going to happen for them. They don't give up. They don't get distracted. They just go, oh, this didn't work out. Well, let me try over here. Oh, if that's not it, like if you were going through a maze, for example, you know, those little mazes that are cut into cornfields and such, like in the fall, there are some people that get exasperated and they walk back out. There's other ones like, I'm going to figure this out. This door didn't open, I'm going to go to this next one. Because one of these doors is going to open and I'm going to get to the exit. I'm going to get to the promised land. I'm going to get to the other side. I'm going to get to the thing that I was trying to work for. When I started this journey, I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but it turned out to be a little bit more tougher than I thought. But I keep my eye on the vision of where I'm trying to go. That's what sustains you with faith. Faith comes not because you see it. Faith is stuff that you can't see yet. So you just have to believe that it's there for you, and you keep working and you keep pivoting, because this is a season of rest, be still, and pivot. Yes. And so that you will shift to the next position, the next dimension, if you will. So after quarantine, so we're talking about dating after quarantine, when you started quarantine, what you were doing was not working because you were still single. So let me break it down for you. If you were still single when quarantine started, something you were doing was not working. So you need to take a moment to fix it. So you fix it by going deep first and saying, what is it about me that I need to work on? Is it something physically? I don't have enough tired. I'm too tired. I feel some type of way about my body. Then do something about it. Because instead of asking somebody else to appreciate you how you are, you need to think about, do I think I'm smoking hot the way I am? And am I as healthy as I want to be? Because a lot of us make excuses for the condition that we live our lives in the body and the temple that God has given us. And so instead of that, how about you optimize what you've been given? You know, work with what your mama gave you. Like, do all the maintenance. Do all, because a lot of us, you know, the maintenance ain't happening with nails and hair and all that stuff. Like, it's starting to tell everybody's business. I saw this one meme, it made me laugh so much. They were saying by the time this is over, 85% of the blondes will disappear. I'm like, it's true.
It's true. It's so
but
true.
I think this is a wonderful season to work on yourself. but even more so, it's a wonderful opportunity to connect, to grow your circle, to network, to have your profile be on public so people can actually see who you are, see what you're about, see what's important to you, have a conversation with you, network. There are people in your life that you may never meet in person, but you can connect on things that you have that are similar. You might have a hobby that's their professional career, and y'all sync on those things, and they can give you words of wisdom and give you encouragement and answer some questions because you respect the rapport that the two of you have. It gives you another opportunity to dive deep on how well do you handle conflict? How well do you handle being bored? How well are you in isolation? It should be sparking your creativity. None of that, I'm not creative business. None of that, my teacher told me, my mama told me. If every single one of us is creative, every single one of us has something unique deep inside of us that needs to come up to the surface. No better time than right now when so many of us have so much more extra time to really dig deep and figure out what that is. For a lot of men, that would be improving their communication skills. So when I said about don't ghosting, a lot of time it's because they don't want to hear some of the questions and the begging and the drama that might come. But it also gives you an opportunity to learn how to deliver the information with grace, set really strong boundaries, and let it go. No drama, don't get sucked in, don't go back. The same thing applies to men as it does to the ladies. When something is over, you don't go back. You know, what was it? Lot's wife, she turned into a pillar of salt, didn't she, when she looked back? You don't look back. Correct. The Bible says so. Don't do it.
Yeah, correct. No, I agree 1,000,000%. And I think too, it's giving us time and space to work on our emotional intelligence. I was watching Common. He did something with Oprah in her 2020 Vision Tour. And he spoke about one day his daughter had called him in the middle of the night. She was tipsy and she was just kind of telling him, like, you're not a good dad. I don't feel like you're here for me, blah, blah, blah. And his initial reaction was, what you mean I'm not a good dad? Or what do you mean you don't think I would pay for this? Or what, I'm doing this, this, and that. But because he has emotional intelligence, because he creates the space for balance and to go within, he was able to say, how can I let love have the last word? Right now, I can listen. And him being able to just listen to her perspective gave him enough intel to respond to her in such a loving manner that they were able to heal the relationship and rectify the situation. So I think before this quarantine, we were all moving too fast. Too much accessibility. We were getting so stagnant and just comfortable, and I feel like we were headed nowhere fast. I'm seeing so much value in this downtime for men and women to just evaluate how we connect with others and having an opportunity to open our hearts. I've been working on opening my heart while we're in here, okay?
Yes, yes, yes. That is so, so important. You know, it's so important that you recognize the opportunity. I personally think that there's going to be more kingdom couples formed in this time period, whether they meet, whether they connect, or because you've done such good work that your brilliance is going to be so dazzling on the other side because you did so much internal heart work that it cannot be denied. Your destiny is going to unfold for you. But there is no question to me that people are diving deep. They're having quality conversation that's very old school, very romantic, lots of slow living. I was given the example the other day. It's almost like that old school of walking to the corner place and getting an ice cream sundae. That takes a while. You sit down, then you walk under the moonlight. Are you getting that imagery? That's what's happening now when people are having the opportunity to talk. And let me break it down really quickly. I think, y'all, and especially for the men, you have got to stop with this love affair with textuationships. Quality conversation does not happen in texting and DMs. It can start. It can be informational. It can be for checking in. But it is an ancillary tool. It's on the fringes, on the outside. It's the sprinkling. It's the seasoning. But it is not the main course.
Not the meat.
So then the next level up, after you've done the texting, you've done that, you get to the phone. What's so good about the phone is you start to hear the context. You hear the pacing of their voice. You get to hear if they stopped and started. Was it painful? Are they excited? Are their words running together? Was there pregnant pauses?
Right.
See how dramatic that is when you hear that sound and it stops? you know something's going on, and it's really, really powerful.
Right.
So after you have that moment of, you've got the communication on the phone, the next level is to take it up one more notch. So you add in what we're doing right now, you and I, Jaimi, video chat, FaceTime, Skype, Zoom, house party. Do you hear all those technology pieces? You can do it from Instagram video. You can do it with Facebook. You have no reason not to connect with somebody anywhere around the world. You don't have to have their phone number. You can have that connection with somebody and be able to connect. When you do that, you know you're not being catfished, but even more, you get a context a little bit. You get to see what they look like. You get to see their expression. You get to see their setting. You get to see like what's in the background, what's around them. Who are they? You get to see them in different times of day. You get to see how they are when they wake up in the morning. You get to see what they're like at night when they're tired. You get to see a more complete, complex picture of who that individual is. So that way, when you do have an opportunity to meet them in person, you have a better idea of who they actually are.
Because isn't that the whole point of everything? You can always tell, you know, the men that are killing time and just sending out blast messages, a bunch of same things to the same, you know, a bunch of different women.
Yes,
and the
like
ones
good
who
morning,
are
beautiful.
intentional. Yeah.
Yeah, good morning, beautiful.
Does that work for me? I get it, but
now
I need it to be more
it's different if a man's telling you you're beautiful and it's good morning, beautiful, and then right after that is a couple more sentences that you know are just for you. So you can believe the good morning, beautiful, because the rest of it tells you it was customized message just for you. That you have this rapport and he really does think you're beautiful. And he's not just saying the words, that's what he actually feels about you. But on another aside, because I, you know, speaking to the kings, for how the kings speak, could y'all stop already with the letters and the hieroglyphics in your text messages? I just wanted to go like the WYD,
oh, you need to spit it all
out. K, RUK. I'm just like, what? I'm like, there's voice to text. Like, you don't even have to type it anymore. Like, it'll type it for you. And predictive text, you can just press a button and it'll guess what you're trying to say. Like, give us a little something. I need a word. I need a sentence. I need a phrase. I need to
use your words.
Use your words. Use all the words. Use a whole bunch of words. Gentlemen, could you please? I know the ladies, sometimes we need to use less words. Gentlemen, we need you to use complete words. How about that? We'll meet in the middle.
Yes, and I don't know if I don't know if you're getting feedback from other women who are not enjoying that type of communication, or if you feel like you are doing these things, making the phone calls, attempting to FaceTime, and doing all these things. But if you are putting that effort and using full sentences and being mindful and thoughtful and intentional, and it's not being received by the woman that you're interacting with, that's your red flag to move along and find somebody else.
Yes, don't stay, don't get bitter, don't get jaded, don't get discouraged, don't get frustrated. Just know that woman's not your person, because there should be an equal exchange of energy. There should be a vibe. There should be a connection. There should be that zha-zha zoom. There should be that feeling. You should feel it. There should be electricity crackling through the airways. There should be like this power and this connection. That is what you're looking for. And no different than when you are talking to your friends and it's light and it's fun and it's casual, or you're heartbroken and you're pouring out your heart. There's somebody that's right there in that space with you. That's what we want. We want somebody who's going to be holding space with us. Someone that's going to be completely present in this moment. I think the best thing that you were saying on, and I just wanted to highlight it again, this is the era of slow living and an opportunity to be completely present. You no longer have the excuse of all these things. They've all been stopped for the most part. So now we're returning to walks outside. And that's why so many people that are finding ways to connect with their family, and they're overcoming, like, if these are the boundaries the government has, I'm going to be creative. I'm going to show my grandchild through the glass of the window. I'm going to show up and bring something, or I'm going to send pizza delivery to their house so they know I'm thinking about them. There are ways you can still connect. Put it on the front doorstep and then ring the doorbell and run away, so you can have the boundary, the physical boundary, but you stay socially connected. That is what I hope we will take out of this into our after quarantine season, because quarantine's going to end. And I don't want you to think it's business as usual. You have to decide that it's going to be different, that relationships matter, that pouring into other people matter, that checking in with people matter. So no different than anybody that hasn't checked on you is you. It has been too long and they should have already checked in. And if they're checking in this time, after 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, and it's the first time you've heard from them, act accordingly. That's why the good Lord gave you the hide, the mute, the delete, and the block button. No.
To keep that same energy vibe. And I see you, Miss Titoya, in the chat. Thank you so much for asking questions. I saw you ask something earlier about what if you're dealing with somebody who is overcoming sorrow or working through sorrow for someone that's sick. And that's very
that tells me
that's challenging.
Yeah. Well, actually it's not. If you meet someone that's grieving for a loved one that's sick, it means they're not whole, healthy, healed, and available. It's just that simple. That means they can be your friend, but they are not a love interest, no way, no how.
Wait, so do you think that the person, not the person who's sick, but if you're grieving a loved one who's sick, you don't think that they're in the space to love?
I'm only going by the words. If you meet someone that's grieving, someone that's grieving is not whole, healthy, healed.
I agree.
They're going through grief. And you have to finish grieving and come out the other side before you're available again. So if you meet this person, this is not an opportunity for on the other side. You don't know how this is going to change them. You're not seeing who they actually are because they are grieving. You don't know who they are because some people come back out stronger and better. Some people are broken for a long time after something happens. You don't know. And so you make a decision. This is a decision time for you. Do you want to be their friend and love them and know that you will never date them? If you're okay with that, then love them. But know that they are not a future potential love person for you at all. It's a very different thing if you already had a relationship with them first, but you said meet them. That's why I said it the way I did.
Correct.
You said meet someone that's grieving, done.
Correct.
That's a no.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense because you also don't want to become the bearer of the weight of trying to fill holes for them that you're not going to be able to fill. But that's not our job.
Yeah, see, everybody grieves differently. What I'm saying is we're talking about dating. You date when you're whole, healthy, healed, period.
Period.
You don't date. So one of the other things when we're talking about communication and being honest and being transparent, y'all, don't hate on the people that say, hey, I only want to chat because I'm bored. They told you the truth. There's nothing wrong. So have a fun conversation. Why are we putting so much expectation on a conversation? We're not meeting up no way. So what's the problem? What's the harm? No harm, no foul. Just know if that's what it is, that's what it is. They're your friend and treat them accordingly.
And if that's not what you're in the mood for, don't participate.
Because stop entertaining people that you know are not good for you, period.
And that's
just like we left them in 2019, we're going to leave them in quarantine also and move on to after quarantine.
Absolutely. I love that too. You know, since we're talking about sacrifice and healing, the healing aspect is monumental. Without it, I really don't know how you would even have the emotional intelligence or the vulnerability to create the intimacy needed to really connect to someone on a soul level and really grow a kingdom relationship. So
you can't.
You can't.
Look, I'm just like, you're like, oh, we're going to have a discussion. There's no discussion. If you're hurting, you have to fix that. If you're not healed, you have to fix that. If you think you're whole and you go on a date and all you do is bring up your ex, you're not done yet. And I'm sorry, but you can hear it pour out of somebody who's not healed. Y'all have been on a date. You've been around your friends. They will not shut up about their ex. They're like, enough already. That tells you they're not whole, healthy, healed. It doesn't matter how cute they are. Doesn't mean they're life of the party. If that's what's coming out of their mouth, that's what is in their heart. And as the good book says, out of abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. It tells you what's actually going on. That is your heart check. People say exactly where they are. Most of us don't decipher it because it's no different than what I just did. I go with the words that somebody actually says, and I go from that because they are full of context and meaning just with the word choices, because those are their word choices, and I have to receive as they gave it to me because it gives a complete full picture.
Exactly, because I know as women, sometimes we like to get delusional because we don't want to let go. And so we start trying to hear other things and what's being said. in reality, what he said, what was said.
For a really good one. So when we get out of quarantine, ladies, when a man says that he's not ready for a relationship, it means he's not ready for a relationship with you. So you can't have an attitude when y'all break up and he locks down, marries somebody after 3 weeks. Because what he said was he did not want to be in a relationship with you. Whether he says it with you, that's what he meant, and that's what you should have heard, because he was talking to you. So we don't go and look and cyberstalk him after y'all break up, and you see that now he's all booed up and he did it in 3 weeks, and you were with him for 5 years, and you couldn't even get him to introduce you as his girlfriend. What I'm saying is he told you exactly, but he was trying to get along, to go along. He's trying to humor you, placate you, whatever. You were providing something that he appreciated. Usually it's between our legs. But whether it was you were cooking, you were always there for him, you let him have money, whatever it is, you allowed that to happen. So stop it.
We've got to stop that too, not only for ourselves, but for the health of men. It's not our job to evolve men. They've got to grow and do things on their own. But I definitely think that there's ways that we can not play into things that'll just help the better of the whole. Women, we have to stick together when we are more discerning and show up differently, whole, healed, and ready to go, and not being delusional, like you said, about these men. We also give them an opportunity to step their game up. And so I think collectively, the more we do that, you know, I don't like when I hear the, oh, well, men will do what you allow them to do. And it's kind of like, then that's not a man, that's a male, you know.
But actually, I'll stop you.
Yeah.
Say the sentence again. Say what you said again.
I don't remember what I said. Basically,
about men will do what you allow them to do.
Yeah, men do what you allow them to do. I don't buy into that.
So that is the converse of what I just said. He told you what he wanted, and most of us hear what we want to hear, and we literally low-key go, yeah, but if I put this on him, if I do this for him, well, he's never had anybody like me. Come on, let's be... Stop projecting onto the men because you don't get the result that you wanted. A lot of us are hearing that as a unspoken challenge of, until I put it on you, until you've had my cooking, until you've never met a woman like me. That whole thing is the converse of that very thing that a lot of times, like I said, it's not that the man was using some woman or whatever. You allowed yourself. If you had strong boundaries, if you had high standards, if you had your red flags identified and you had your deal breakers, you wouldn't stay long enough to get caught up in the first place, no matter how he acted. Or Period.
Yeah. And so we all have to take responsibility, because I know it happens on the man's side and the women's side. I've had men literally try to buy me. Out the gate, you're with the money and I'm going to give you money doing this and that. And then you get used to, you are giving me money. You are taking me places. You are trying to money me. And when I'm not responding in the way you want me to, acting like your girlfriend, giving you sex, doing this and that, I've had men really flash on me for that. So it definitely goes both ways.
It does. But why do you think he flashes on that? Because it's been so effective. Because so many of us, we go back to the quality list in the first place. Money shouldn't be on the list.
Yes.
But most men want to make a woman happy. Most men want to be in a relationship. So if all they've ever experienced is they get the feedback, most women that are after money will let somebody know, you got to pay my bills. How many songs? You got to put a ring on it. We have all this independent woman syndrome, which I think is holding a lot of us back.
Yeah.
But that independent woman syndrome causes men to act that way. The men wouldn't do that. I promise you. The men would not keep doing that if it didn't work. If the thing that got them to the promised land between our legs was being thoughtful and kind and knitting a sweater, men would be competitive knit sweaterers. Like they'd be going to town.
Hands down.
I'm just saying, that's what they are doers. They are going to do. They're going to put in work. So let's give them and recognize that. But let's say, hey, I need you to focus on, I need you to just be the best listener ever.
Right.
I need you to be the man that's the most consistent ever. And if you speak to that, if you speak to the things that you like, if you speak to that gym, because a lot of times, if he was in a relationship and these expectations, you might be the first woman ever that he's ever encountered like this. So it's not like he's not capable. He may have never seen it in his upbringing. He may have never met it in his school days. He may have never dated it because it wasn't in his friend circle, his work circle, ever. So then you have to give him an opportunity. If you see core qualities, you need to give him an opportunity to shift. That's why the core qualities and the standards are the first foundation you have to lay down. Because once they're in place, a lot of things that people are thinking are deal breakers, they are places of compromise. They're places of communication. Because you can't expect someone to know you. You can't expect somebody to treat you. Because how you were in your last relationship, even if you gave that playbook, you're different at the end of the relationship than you were when you started it. So what might have worked even for you isn't going to work the same way because y'all have different chemistry. So maybe you were the kind of person that only liked flowers and whatever, but now you're in a space where I'm just happy to be in the back of your pickup truck and let's do a picnic out on the beach. So you're like, I don't need to be all fancy and dolled up. Or let's go do the dolled up thing and then let's go walk in the stars and I don't care if my dress gets wet because I'm with you.
Right.
But if you never had that opportunity, what I'm saying is for almost every instance, I'm not playing devil's advocate. I'm just saying you don't know what somebody's situation is. And a lot of us, because of dating apps, have got to this point where we're swiping left on people in real life.
I'm going to get my charger.
Yeah, no worries. Some people are swiping left in real life on people that might be someone that they can actually grow with and go with and learn from and grow together. Might be somebody has those.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I've actually been guilty of that, you know, swiping on somebody who might be a potential just because I didn't have my anchors in place. Us talking about those qualities and choosing those qualities properly based off of, you know, what it is, they become our anchors. And so, like you said, when we have those anchors, it gives us more grounds to differentiate between when we're supposed to drop someone and when we're supposed to compromise and open up and share what our needs are and go that route, as opposed to just, oh, no, he's not doing, like, you know, and cutting them off.
Right, because you're looking for somebody that gives you kindness. Look for somebody that gives you respect. And so you look for the fruits of the spirit of gentleness, meekness, kindness, all those things that are there in 1 Corinthians for the description of love and for fruits of the spirit. All those things are great qualities. Those are what should be on your list. Plus things like healthy lifestyle, travel. Notice I said travel. I didn't say getting on a jet and flying first class. And
correct.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Correct.
It's the same kind of quality of life. We've talked about 2 of the 3 things. I don't want to leave the people hanging. I want to make sure we get to the 3rd one before our time is up together.
Yes.
In terms of the
and
last
we have a question
one.
really quick. Why do you think it's so hard for men to handle rejection and correction?
All right, Crystal, how about this? Will you click on the question and so it'll slide back away?
Yes.
Yeah. Why do you think it's so hard for men to handle rejection and correction? Jaimi, there you go.
My bad.
I love it. This is live, y'all. This is live for real.
Yes.
You got to see behind the curtain in The Wizard of Oz.
I know.
I would pose the same question to you. How well do you handle rejection? Most of us don't like rejection. Real talk. I mean, think of the word. It's not anything. Think about both of those words. Rejection, correction, real talk. How well did you handle it from your mama? How well did you handle it from your teacher? Most of us don't handle rejection well. And honestly, a lot of women are really ugly about it. So one of the things I always give as an example way back before, I don't know, in February, we could actually go out and meet somebody out and about. So for example, if a man is trying to approach a woman he sees that's attractive, he's trying to pursue her, he's trying to do the hunt, he's trying to do his thing. If she is with a whole bunch of women, he doesn't know how she's going to act. Because a lot of times when women are in a pack of women, somebody is going to like curve him before he can even get to you and say, why are you coming over here? Or look at you, or laugh at him or whatever and give him a hard time. And most men won't approach because they don't know what's going to happen. It's that fear of rejection, but it's not the fear of rejection. It's the fear of how am I going to be received? Even even if you're not interested, are you going to treat me with grace and respect, or are you going to like clown me in front of all my boys? Like, that is part of that rejection. The correction. No man wants to be talked to like you're his mama. Nobody wants to feel like they're being corrected and scolded like they're a child. So a lot of it comes back to what I said at the very beginning about what we do with our mouth skills. That doesn't, sorry, that was my after dark conversation. What we do with our mouth skills in terms of guarding what we say. So the word choice, then how we deliver the message, the tone of voice, the pacing, and the last piece of that is the timing. So a lot of it, most of us are in such a hurry to share how we're feeling,
right?
In such a hurry to make sure they know they did us wrong, or we don't handle that we don't take into account the way we present the information gives us a result that they're affected by the tone, the delivery, and the timing more than your actual message.
And then, you know, I agree with that, like, completely. All of those are such great actionable tips. And just to piggyback off of that, I also believe, you know, sometimes we're not responsible with how we make people feel. I can't make you feel a certain way. And there are times, because men are not in certain places, where it does become an ego thing. There's value to the ego, but then there's also a part of the ego where, you know, men have gotten to the point where they can't handle rejection because they're tying that to their self-worth. So it's not just you said, no, I don't want to give you my phone number. You just told them that they're not worthy of having a woman right now or something. You know, sometimes people play it up in their mind, but we don't have control.
Think about it, though. If a man comes over and everybody's watching, right? Literally, everybody sees that man approach.
Oh, yeah.
How are you handling it?
Right.
Most women are frowning up going, if there's not somebody that you want to like, that you're like, why is he coming over here? Why is he talking to me? Like, how dare you step to me? Right. And that kind of energy is going to come back into your own life. So you just need to take a moment, and I'm not saying for you, Crystal, I'm just saying in general, for all of us, how well have we done when somebody came up to us that we were not interested, no way, no how, but we treated them with the kind of respect that we would want us to be treated. Most of us don't. We're at a bar, we're key-keying up, we're not giving any kind of thought in particular to like, no, I do not want to give you my phone number. No, I don't want to drink. Why is he still here? Like, why are you coming over here? You see, I'm with my girls. All that attitude. Right. That attitude is what you're getting back and reflected. So it's one of those things that I think we need to be really, really conscious of, because a lot of that energy that you're talking about where the men start thinking it's their self-worth, if he keeps getting that everywhere he goes with different women in different settings, ladies, that's what I'm saying. We have womanly wiles, and I'm sorry, I see this behavior more times than I would care to mention, just observing people out in the wild of the bar scene, the single scene, on apps, online. You see that behavior. You know, you say you want a man that hunts, and I say, how do you not know that the man that God has for you is not in your friend zone because you already curved him because he didn't look like what you thought was on your list because your list didn't have core qualities on it? Just saying. Yeah, no, it's very true. I mean, very well said. I know this thing here is telling us that we have a minute left, but we do have one more quick topic, and it's a big one, and it's something, you know, that I feel like I love the verbiage that you've created. I love the space that you created for women and men to look at this very particular thing in a very unique way. It's powerful, and I want to make sure we get to it. So why don't we head out real quick, and then we'll come back in for our third topic before we wrap up the conversation.